Well, good morning, everybody. We are pretty excited to be here today. Wait, this is Microsoft. We are super excited to be here today. And so a whole new way of using computing has really arisen, and we want Windows to respond to that. I want everybody to think about two important elements of Windows 8. First, everything that was great about Windows 7, well, we took that and we made it even better in Windows 8. And then we did something that we took a step back and we said, what's the boldest thing we could say? And what we said is, we're going to reimagine Windows. From the chipset to the experience, Windows 8 reimagines what Windows can be.
Everybody wants a Windows PC that boots faster, that has a battery that lasts longer, that has great graphics, display, visuals, touch, sensors, and fits into the thinnest, lightest form factors ever. What's really important with Windows 8 is because DX hardware is so prevalent in the entire ecosystem, we built all of Windows 8 on a hardware-accelerated graphics platform. So the reason that the UI is fast across this whole line is that everything has hardware-accelerated graphics, including the apps. So you write a Metro-style app, it's got graphics.
Right, all the transitions, all the graphics, all hardware accelerated,
yes.
Which we started in IE9.
Yeah.
And really baking that into the platform at the native code level.
I think they like that.
Sounds good. The work that our OEMs are doing is just incredibly cool. I mean, in all of these different form factors, and all of these are going to be great Windows 8 machines. And that's one of the most important things about what we're doing in terms of being able to support the broadest range of types of scenarios and form factors for computing.
And I go to my new login screen. This is called Picture Password. And very easily, I'm going to press on my daughter's nose, press on the lemonade, and draw a line. And very quickly, on my mobile device, I logged in, is Windows. This is the place you come to when you start Windows, and it's the place you go to get to all the applications that you guys are going to build that people are going to love. Instead of scrolling along many, many pages, I'm going to go ahead and pinch with my finger. So watch closely. I'm going to go like this, and it's going to zoom me out to see the entire set of the things that I have on my system. I can continue launching by going back to the start screen. I'm swiping my thumb from the right-hand side of the screen and bringing up start. I'm going to launch my newsreader application, which is another Metro-style application. Now, these applications, their user interface for these applications you get by swiping up from the bottom. And here I can add the new feeds. I can refresh, remove, or whatever capabilities your app wants to have. They come from what we call the app bar. And I know this video has soundtrack, so again, I'm going to swipe from the right-hand side of the screen and bring up the settings. In context of playing the video, I have access to all my system settings that I might want to do while I'm working with apps. Here I have the sound muted. And above this, I also have the settings for the application itself. So the applications share the settings space with the system settings to make it easier for people to not have to go out of context of what they're trying to get done just to change the volume or access something about your settings of your app. If I want to view two things on the screen, I can dock one to the right and dock it this way. Or not. There we go. And it's always something that you want to do when you're on a web page. You often want to send a snippet of some content around to someone or send a link or a URL. I'm going to use something out the right-hand side. We call these things out here on the right charms. And the charms are the way that the applications can power the system and add new capabilities to Windows. So I'm going to click the share charm. And when I do that, I see all the applications that I support the share contract. I'm going to launch an application called FriendSend, which is a sample application that we wrote. And you see that the content that I copied from Internet Explorer shows up inside this application. This application can show the kinds of capabilities it has to do with the content coming from Internet Explorer. And I'll share that. And so now I can get right back to browsing without having to come back to and find where I left off. Go into search, and here you see search pretty much like you would expect in Windows 7. I can search my applications, my settings, my files, search your local hard drive, or search the entire universe over the internet. My Bing application here will go ahead and search the entire internet for me. But with Windows 8, applications can make their content available for people to search directly. So here I have my music app. I'm going to search for Viper Creek. And if I still want to see what's going on with Viper Creek in some other context now, I go back to search, and I can search for tweets or any other application that has no knowledge.
Here I am in the Windows Store. So it's actually our design philosophy for the Windows Store has been to just keep it really, really simple and make it easy for people to browse and find the kinds of things they need. Or if they know exactly what they're looking for, they can just search and go find that app specifically. It's organized into sections. This first section that you see here on the left is called the Spotlight section, and that's a programmed section of the store. As I scroll to the right here, as I move over to the right, you can see sections or categories. There's a games category, and then there's a social category, entertainment, and all those things. I'm going to scroll over, let's see, where's the finance section? You'll notice down at the bottom left here, there's an app called Quicken. It's not a Metro-style app. It's a desktop. I'm going to click on it. Here's a product, here's an app description page for Quicken. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to list Win32 apps as well as Metro-style apps in the store.
And now I'm running Windows 8. Now, of course, it works just the same with a keyboard and a mouse. Here I am scrolling super fast across all the apps. I can roll my mouse down into the corner and get the start menu that shows the same as Julie showed when you swipe in on the side. I'm just going to go ahead and start a couple apps here. I'm just going to show you fast and fluid. So I just start apps and I just keep running. And all you do is just keep starting those apps just like you would expect. But we're pros, so hey, how about Task Manager? So here's Task Manager that I've got up and running. So what does this look like if you're a pro and you want to see some more stuff? Let's look at the new Task Manager. It's kind of given a facelift. We figure it's been about 20 years, so let's give it a shot. The first thing you'll see is you've got an immediate heads-up display with a visual representation of the amount of memory, CPU, disk, and network that any given application is using. Now, suspended applications remain loaded in memory, but you'll see they all have 0 CPU. So you can see that all the applications are available, and they're grouped by background processes, Windows processes. Even fancy little touches we did, like you could end the task, and then if you're on Explorer, you could just restart it, because you can't make it go away forever. So we also show you performance. So here's a really cool view of how the performance is going to look with CPU, disk, memory. In fact, I could go here, I could start this, I could drag this file over to the desktop and start a copy with the new fancy copy dialog, and then you'll see the disk I/O just spike, and you've got this cool graphical presentation of how copying is going. You've got some of those startup programs you're not sure of. Well, I don't have any on this machine, but if you did, you'd just see a list here, and then you could just manually disable them right here, right in the Task Manager. If you've got a server or multi-user machine, you could see all the running programs and the resource utilization grouped by users. I've got a full details view that's got all the stuff you want to see. You can hide and show columns. You can even right-click and go and do a search out on the web for a particular exe to see what it might be. And, of course, you've got the classic services view as well. Now, let's take a look at the Metro-style control panel, because I want to show a scenario about really being in control of your machine. So if you're like me, what you do is you have a machine, you do a clean install, and then you want to make sure you could revert back to a known state. And you've probably got a whole elaborate system of trying to put your files on the D drive and doing all this other stuff. We've got a new, bold way to think about how to do that. We have a new feature that's called Reset and Refresh. And here you are, to be able to refresh your PC without affecting any of your files. It's right here in the control panel. You go right here, you click Getting Started. Here's what's going to happen. Your files and personalization will not change. Your PC settings will be restored to all of their defaults, and all of your Metro-style apps will be kept, and all the other apps like malware and extra toolbars will be removed. So I bet you'd like to see a little bit of how we work on multiple monitors. Well, of course, the good old Windows P command still works, and I'm going to go ahead and extend that monitor. Now, you notice this desktop background is letterbox a little bit, so let me go ahead and extend this to 2 monitors. You're going to see both monitors up there, and now notice how that desktop spans those monitors and is completely filled. Now, you're probably wondering, like, hey, the taskbar. So here it is set up as a default, and so let me right-click on the taskbar and bring up the properties of it. Now, this is the new taskbar property sheet, and it allows some new options for dealing with multiple monitors. So right now I have it set to always to showing everything on both taskbars. So if you're a kind of person that just moves back and forth between all of them, no big deal. But what about if you want to, if you actually want to have something that's unique to each taskbar? So only apps that are running on a particular monitor are visible. So then you notice everything fell off the bottom of the second monitor down here. But now I'm going to go ahead and drag this Explorer window over here. Watch this. Oops, there it shows up.
All right, we're here at the Build Conference. I'm here with Mike Angulo, and you we saw you in the keynote this morning.
Yep.
Showing us this wonderful device. We're going to take a close look at this and do a little unboxing.
Great.
Tell us a little bit about this device.
So we worked with Samsung. We built a really cool PC to give away here at Build to the attendees who are learning how to build Metro-style apps. So we wanted a PC that was powerful enough to do development on and was like the kind of form factors that are going to ship around Windows 8 timeframe. And it's got all the sensors and it's got all of the features that a developer would want.
Yeah. And so this is all the sensors that a developer might try to write apps for, and the things that we saw in the keynote this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. The most important sensor, of course, being touch. With Windows 8 having a touch-first UI, we wanted a system that had a really, really great touch experience. So I'm going to turn this guy on, and it has UEFI, so I showed UEFI booting today. So you go right to that logo, you don't see all the DOS characters flashing. It only takes about 8 seconds, you're here in Windows. And so the first thing that we worked on with Samsung was getting a really, really responsive touch experience. A bright screen, it's a wide screen, 1366 by 768, so it can do all of the features that you saw earlier today.
Like the docking.
Like the docking.
On the side.
Yeah, I can go back here and launch like the stock app and go back to start, launch the weather app. Works like you would expect. It's not a stylus, it's actually an electromagnetic digitizer. What else?
It's like a tablet PC pen.
It's
like a
tablet. It's like a tablet PC. This box is kind of important too. This is where we have the dock and the keyboard. This was another element that you may or may not have picked up when we were demoing this, is that this, by the fact that it's a real PC, it's got some batteries here, so I won't power it all up and do the pairing, but I've got a Bluetooth keyboard and a really slick integrated base.
Very
it like
nice.
Snaps up like this.
So it's a little dock that'll hold it at the right angle. You can sit and use it like a computer.
HDMI, power, USB, Ethernet. So you set it here and then set the box aside. Actually, I'll show you the power adapter too, because it's kind of nice. It sticks right in there. You can see it's active. And now I go from having a tablet form factor to a full power. I mean, it's a Core i5, 4 gigabyte, solid state disk. It's got every kind of radio. This one I've actually already gone through the AT&T pairing section, and you can actually see that it's connected to 3G, because when we gave these away, AT&T is one of our show sponsors. Every single developer is getting 2 gigabytes a month for a year free. So that comes with the system. And the other thing I was going to show you is our power supply. I'm kind of proud of this. We got it pretty small, like pretty nice compact setup for traveling. So you can take the whole setup and have a whole development workstation, or you could take it with you like this. It's thin and it's light, and we worked on getting as much battery into there as possible. So we have a really small system board. You can see online in the demo, the system board actually takes up just a fraction of what's inside the case. We worked with ST Micro on sensors. So this has accelerometers, and it's got a gyro and a magnetometer. It's got an NFC antenna on the back, so you can tap 2 of these together to share. Or you'd put like the little radio tag cards that I showed on stage. All of that works, and it's all in this one setup. You can see we also have some debugging tools, so Visual Studio and stuff. This is set up for devs. It's a super high power setup, so you can write these apps and then test them all right in place. You don't have to go to a separate real development PC and then put it onto something that's just a device. And it's, you know.
Very responsive.
It is.
Very nice.
Yeah, so.
So what were the challenges in getting 5,000 of these ready for people here?
The biggest challenge is just the time. So when we came down to Build, we wanted to get developers the absolute latest Windows bits, which meant we were still working on them. Now, typically, when an OEM is building a system like this for sale, they build it months in advance, image them in the factory, and have a whole testing process. But we had these flown here to Anaheim. We rented a warehouse next door. I'm not kidding you. Flew down about 30 or 40 Microsoft engineers. The people actually built Windows. And we were unboxing and hand imaging and testing these PCs ourselves. Awesome, I mean, we were like ready to start a union here. I mean, it was a big, big show. We had rows of boxes, pallets of boxes, you know, millions of dollars worth of hardware. And we actually had to get our hands dirty, which was a good learning experience. That's one of the things that came out of this project for us at the Microsoft side, was the more we know about how these PCs are built, the more we can work together with partners to help build better PCs. So while this is a Win 7 PC running an early developer build, it actually works really well. And by the time we get to Windows 8, those are the kind of partnerships that are going to ship great Windows 8 hardware.
So each machine flashed with love from a Windows employee.
They've all been touched. They've all, we should have signed the back of them or something.
Awesome. Well,